Hello, hi, my name's Eddie Obeng, and this is how daily I bring you a different way to mold your world with different people engagement tools. The rules around people engagement tools are always the same. Use them to help you with your thinking. Make sure you use sticky notes, write in full sentences. Everything that makes sense. Today's treat I have for you is if you're running a big program or a strategy, sometimes it's just too much to keep in your head. Or if you're running an organization, either a large one or an SME, a small medium enterprise, you've got lots of things going on. And sometimes it's hard to keep abreast of what's important and what you should focus on. So Flok-It is a way of looking at all the change, all the activity you're running in your organization and being able to prioritize and focus. Let's jump onto Cube and I'll explain. So welcome to Cube, where the sun is always shining. As you can see out through the window over here, I'm just showing the back of my head. Why? Because I remember that last time I was here, I left a bit of a mess. I put the bicycle out just so I could show off and show what was happening, but I didn't put it back on the wall. So there you go. It's now it's now back on the wall. So let's have a look at this cubicle is the incubator cubicle. So that's why it says innovation funnel up here, because it basically is a place where you would come to run a series of innovations, and you can run through everything from your insights you can see on the other side there, all the way through to trying to make sure that you can actually execute and so on and so forth. So Flok-It, it's in my book, Putting Strategy to Work. And it's really a very simple idea. The idea is that if you are running lots of activities, often they're not neatly arranged into a program. The classic thing which you'll find is that they'll be scattered all around your organization. So I like to think of them not as, people go, we've got a program, and they'll have a sort of a big document like that with a breakdown of all the different activities. Reality, of course, is that there's not tons of stuff happening. You basically have a bunch of different projects, and you hope they're all flying in roughly the same direction and not sort of pointing in the wrong direction or maybe even pointing backwards. So this is what I call a flock. It's a flock of change projects, activities, and so on. And why are they crucial? Because we want to be able to see what the value is. So let's jump in and have a look at the Flok-It pet. So I'll tell you what the colors are. The colors are basically trying to tell you whether life is going to be good or bad for you. So green, as you can imagine, pentacle, green, always the best. Green is basically good stuff. So the question is, if you know what you're doing and you know how you're going to do it, it's probably going to be green. The terminology, if you look at the pet types of change, you'll come across is paint by numbers. Relatively straightforward to do because you know what you're doing, how you're doing it. It might be complex in detail, but you're probably going to be okay. Then the other angle might be that it's really obvious and measurable. Green, because you can track it, you can see what's going on. Someone else is doing it for you. Green, because basically you're outside, you say, do that. So you've got control over it. So that's where the green ones come in. Okay, that's what green is. But along here is the primary purpose. Why are we doing this? Is it to bring money in faster? Is it to reduce the rate at which we spend, release resources, meet a compliance, or for something else like fun, learning, growing, making the team enjoy themselves? So those are the questions from the pet money-making machine, which you can go and have a look at. So that's what this grid is. And what you do is you look at the different activities you're running and you go, right, recruiting 10% additional resources for the sales force. Well, that should, in theory, bring money in faster. So it's probably up here. And then the question is, do we know what we're doing or how we're going to do it? We sort of know roughly what we need. It's one of these ones here. I'll probably stick it up here. So that's where that project's going to go. Then we've got something like delivering leadership capability. Will that bring money in faster? Probably not. Release rate? Probably not. Release resources? Probably not. Meet compliance? Probably. It's really so that the environment we work in is really good. Do we know how to do it? Probably not. But we're still going to have to do it anyway. So it's probably about here-ish. And then we'll have something like restructuring the organization. That's a big one. We're probably doing that to release resources, I would imagine. And then we have a look and say, well, do we know what we're doing? Well, not really, because last time we restructured it, okay, and so on. So what you're doing is you're trying to understand all the different rollout AI agents. It's probably here, lowest priority. You're probably doing it to reduce costs. They won't work anyway. And so on and so forth. Develop new platform, I'll put that there as well. So now you have a much better sense of what's going to happen, where the risk should go. If these are really crucial, you're going to have to keep an eye on these. This one you should sort of keep an eye on. That one's going to just be the best ever, and so on. So it's just a way of mapping out so you can prioritize and know where the issues are. There's a second Flok-It pet, which actually allows you to think about the change in a little bit more detail. But for me, I tend to like the one with the colors because it tells most of the story. The other one is a bit simpler because you just have to think about what type of change it is and then position it. So that's Flok-It. It's a way of putting all your activities on a wall. The story I tell with this is I did this approximately once with one of the banks, Bank of Ireland, and we basically killed off about 80% of their projects because they're all sitting in the red space. And basically that released lots of resources and really turned the business around. So watch out for that. That's me. I've been Eddie Obeng. There's always a quick guide. There's a newsletter. Make sure you subscribe. But more importantly, bring 10 of your friends. Because what we're going to start trying to get like a leaderboard of who's working on which pet. And it'll be fun if you've got other people you can compete with. See you again.